Welcome, everyone. I'm Luminessa Injara, and I'm so glad that you have chosen to listen to my channel today. This is my second New Year's message, and I think I'm going to make it a tradition. This year's message is entitled 2025, a Year of Completion. And the reason that I call it that is because the actual numbers, 2025, add up numerologically to the number 9, which is actually the Hermit. And the Hermits is also representative of ending cycles, completing aspects of your own personal life as well as the collective field. So you see, for us collectively, since you and I and all the other millions of people, we make up the collective consciousness of humanity. We make up the collective field. More and more people that accept a specific way of acting or being, then that becomes more part of the collective consciousness. So it's very important for us to understand that this is a very crucial year. As all of us have been bear witness to, our cultural, societal norms have shifted dramatically over the last 5 years. And especially this past year with so much, I would have to say, interference, at least in my opinion, of course, is all about my opinion and my perception. But with the impact of mass media and the continuous sort of drive for certain messages and certain way of being, and the diversity, the way in which we have been collectively manipulated in a way to hate each other, to fight each other, to judge each other, make people wrong for thinking a certain way. This manipulation by, I would have to say, a certain small group of people, the 1% that own most of this planet, and have at a certain level been running things. I would say to all of that, which has escalated in this past year, we are now in another opportunity to make a new choice and to decide whether we are choosing to go and support an old way of being, or let's just say a pathway that, in my personal opinion, obviously, doesn't support humanity's best interests. And that might be, for some people, it's okay if you disagree with me, but it might be the transhumanist movement that goes way, way out into more of a dystopian future, with AI being used in such a way that it actually becomes more of, rather than a helpmate, it becomes more of a controller. And also a society where we are not sovereign and free, but we're still in an enslaved society. And we have exchanged our freedom for what we might think is called safety on one level. Now that's one path. And that path is emerging. It has been emerging. The old world that we, and myself included, and those of us who were maybe born before 2000, we may have experienced this old paradigm as familiar. The institutions, the governments, the politics, the societal, cultural norms, all of let's just say, those of us who have come from that period of time, people that were born in the 50s or 60s and 70s and beyond, up until maybe the millennials. And I might say maybe those born in the 90s, but most of us prior to that have lived for a very long time with sort of cultural, societal standards and norms that have made us feel that they're very set in stone. It takes forever often to change a law or to get something passed. And politics went, I believe, from a time when there was something more about politics which felt honest and refreshing, and where you really could look forward to hearing candidates speak, to being completely bought and sold, and almost all the parties being the same. This is just, again, my perception. So 2025, a year of completion. Personally, that means that each of us, if you choose, have an opportunity to really look at what you are willing to complete in your own life. That could be what relationships are no longer in alignment with who you feel you are now, or maybe with your values. It could be work or job that you're feeling is no longer really expressing your true self. It's an old aspect of you that you don't feel comfortable anymore with, or it's like there's not a match on a vibration. We're using the word vibration a lot in these past few years. And you know why we use it is because in quantum physics, that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to frequency. Everything is energy, everything is frequency. So we emit a frequency. When we feel sad, there's a frequency. When we're angry, it's a frequency. When we feel healthy, there's a frequency. When we feel sick, it's a frequency. So consider that when we are letting go of something, things will come up emotionally. And then as we're willing to look at those things, as we're willing to tell the truth about them, reclaim our power, take responsibility, and then say, you know, I'm done with this. I'm done with this thought. I'm done with this person. I'm done with this job. I'm done with this way of being in my life. When we come to those places within ourselves, and I will say that I've just done this, so I can speak from experience. I've just been going through 6 months of letting go of my old perceptions of my life, of me, of all aspects of me. And I will also share with you, because most of you don't know me, I've dedicated my entire life to my own spiritual awakening, my own self-mastery, my own ascension. I've dedicated my life to doing the work on a very deep soul level that needs to be done. And I've done it mostly alone, but I have also done it in alignment with other spiritual groups that I felt were part of my lineage or part of my frequency, that really supported me and gave me tools and gave me community. So I can speak from experience that we are at a crucial time in this year, as we are still in this transitional time of letting go. Things are breaking down all around us. Countries, money systems, cultural values, political leaders are shifting again. The corrupt are being arrested. Those that we maybe thought were corrupt but aren't, or those that we thought aren't and weren't are. Nothing seems as it is. Things appear one way and then they show up another. Things seem to be always in sort of flux or change. And I talk to you about this because I am one of you. We are a collective. The collective consciousness of all of us is created through each of our own individual consciousness. So as you work and heal and let go of parts of your own world, your life, your family, your friends, your relationships, your work, your soul life lessons, whatever it is that may be arising for you, when you take that on and you say, I'm willing to take a look at my life, I'm willing to see the parts of myself I haven't always loved, I'm willing to embrace those parts, I'm willing to let go of those parts, I'm willing to love those parts, I'm willing to release them, and I'm willing to forgive myself or anybody else I need to in order for me to move on into my next evolution as a divine human being. We are here to let go of our egoic identity, which is not the true self of who we are. It is an aspect, but it is not all of who we are. And this negative, or I won't even say negative, but this egoic identity has a mental, emotional, and even a spiritual component. It has a pain body. It has sometimes a false spiritual sense of itself. It sometimes judges others. I mean, the ego is an aspect that is and has been terribly afraid to really allow itself to emerge and evolve into a divine human, which is really letting go of the false self and stepping in to our true nature, which we could call the unified field, we could call source energy, we could call it a divine human, we could call it our master self. but it's a self that has no egoic identity. There's no me and you. There's just a unification that there's an us. And it doesn't mean I merge with you. It just means that I'm aware that we are from this one level of consciousness collectively. That's all that exists. And individually, I'm an expression of that in this body. But as I do my own inner work, and I clear out the parts of my shadow, I clear out the parts that have been painful, I work on those, and I also start to embrace my new potential, my new power to be self-healing, self-generating, to really emerge as a humanitarian, perhaps, in service to others. As I evolve in my consciousness, I'm also putting that into the field collectively, which will have an impact on everyone else. Because if each of us did that, each of us did our own work and got ourselves into that new consciousness, or even were emerging into that consciousness as we let go this year, we would have a tremendous change vibrationally in our collective field. And that's what this core message is today, that we all have an impact. But each of us first has to let go of the old way we have been acting or being or perceiving or thinking of ourselves, and of course, how we may have projected some of our negative thought forms or our negative egoic ideas onto others. You know, humanity can't come into unification if everybody is hating everybody. We can't come into love if you still hate your neighbor because they think differently from you. Now, that was never something I ever really feel America stood for. And I'm only bringing this up because it is part of this conversation. America, and it is the world that we're talking about now, it's 2025. But in the United States, we know it's been very tumultuous this past year, and there's been a lot of diversity and a lot of, I think, instigated more than coming from us on our own. I think there's been a lot of stirring the pot to judge others if they're different, to make them wrong if they don't think like us, to do many things, and especially in social media, because you know how easy it is to say things in social media. So I'm inviting you to take a look this year, to take a look right now, in fact, to take the time, if you're one of those people like myself who really is committed to an emerging new earth with a new paradigm of how to live life, to live life that is based on love, not fear, that is based on sharing, compassion, supporting others, the well-beingness of all life. If you're one of those, if you're like me, who's committed, or maybe you're a new person who has just learned to meditate, or just stepped onto a spiritual path for yourself. But wherever you might be, if you're watching this and you're listening this far, then you are obviously one of those people. I'm inviting you to really begin, as this year starts, to just review and see all the parts of your own life that maybe you have been judging yourself for silently, or maybe regrets. You feel that you wish, you know, when we have a regret, it's because we feel we should have made a different decision. But then that keeps us stuck in the past, right? So facing that, owning that, loving that, and saying, you know, honey, it's okay. I made that decision. I did that back when I didn't know any better, and I love myself anyways. And now here's where I am, and now I get to create something new. So when we let go of something from our past, when we allow ourselves to do a completion process, whether again, it could be soul life lessons that you have learned in your lifetime, or in this past year. It can be anything and everything that may arise for you. It could be a trigger that happens when you talk to someone, and suddenly, instead of projecting out to them, you're owning that. You take responsibility for that. You say, I feel triggered. Why do I feel triggered? I always ask, what's going on there? Why am I reacting so much? And then I keep taking it deeper until I can go into meditation, and then I get answers. And then I'm able to clear whatever that piece is and move forward. And it might take a day or it might take longer, but I am committed to moving that piece forward. I let it go. I resolve it. I'm ready to say, I'm done with that now. I've worked that through and now I'm done. So I'm inviting you in 2025 on a personal level to do the work you need to do in order for you to come to completion in whatever cycle of life in ways that you may not even know now. Again, it can be relationships that you may be ready to let go of, or maybe you have let go of. It may be work or job, career path. That might be a spiritual way in which you looked one way, or an organization or a group that's no longer serving you, filling you. It may be family that you no longer feel an alignment with. It could be friends. It could be anything. It could also, again, be soul lessons. Our soul, our higher self, our I am presence, which is an aspect of the divine unified field. Individually, all we're made up is of frequency and energy and a vibration. That's our individual expression. We are an expression of the divine. Now, we forgot that, so we have been awakening on many different levels. Some of us spiritually, some of us politically, some of us on a more humanitarian level. It just depends. But wherever we are, as we awaken to our true nature, which is the still presence of what I am, the stillness, the void, the presence of all that is, the divine intelligence that gave birth to creation of life, we are an aspect of that in an individual expression. It is time for us to complete the old 2.0 you. I say 2.0, I'm at 3.0, 4.0. Let's just say going to 4.0. We're letting all the old the third dimensional ways in which we even related to the world. That's what we're doing. No one's ever done this before, by the way. This is all new. That's why we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing. Those of us who are way showers like myself, those of us who are teachers of meditation or spirituality, who've done this work, we're here to help and support others. If you need your hand held, we're here to help you to do that. We're here to help you. But even those of us who've done that are still allowing ourselves to go into the unknown and just say we don't really know, but we know one thing. We know right now what we're doing. We trust the divine. We trust God's source as myself. I just made a huge discovery just 2 days ago. Truly. Something happened, it triggered some energy. I had an aha moment about something I didn't think was even, an idea, a way in which I held myself. I didn't even know I still did. It was tremendous. And it took me almost about 24 to 48 hours to clear and process it through. And I shifted the vibrational frequency because of that. I up-leveled. Our commitment right now has to be to up-level. Has to be to let go of the old way of being that is no longer serving you personally, which is not serving love, which is not serving the well-being of all people everywhere, including plants and animals and insects and everyone else that live on this planet. This is our time to create this new earth, but we have to be a vibrational match for the new earth in order to live in the new earth. And we have to actually take action to create that new earth. Now, maybe some of you agree with what's going on in the world politically. It's not about politics anymore. Let me just say, we have to get beyond the diversity of playing this against that. That's an old paradigm way of being. The new you, who is this new you? Take a piece of paper out, write in a journal. Who am I? Who do I want to be? And I don't mean how much money I want to make, although money is fine. Money is shifting too. But let's say putting money aside, putting all of that old paradigm way of looking at life, working for money, doing what you love for money, whatever, all of these old paradigm ways of being. What do you want to be like? Who do you want to become? How do you want to be? What do you want your energy to feel like when you walk into a room? How do you want people to respond to you? How could you envision your life in a new earth? What would it feel like to live in a world where we live in Christ consciousness, where we love each other fundamentally, where rather than seeking entertainment in life, we seek to awaken to our superpowers. We seek to learn how to be telepathic more, open up our brain more, use more of our brain. Or maybe we dedicate ourselves to, we have fun, our lives are balanced. So there's fun and there's play and all the things that we do as humans, but we're also here to grow, to help others, support others, to help others to also grow. I mean, consider what that might look like as we move into 2025. Again, collective field. All of us make up the collective field. And as we shift personally, we shift the collective field. This is an invitation. And it's not going to come again. Not in the same way. Because right now, every single planet this year is lining up on what we call 0 point. My very, very, very limited understanding of this at this moment is that 0 point is a reset. So we get an opportunity to reset our own vibrational frequency every month and go up into a higher octave on our true nature. We get to awaken to more of our potential as a divine human. And that is a very broad concept. I know many of you may not know what I mean, but when I say divine human, we have been taught that we're limited. So if you consider that that has been a false matrix, a false belief that we all, at least those of us born before 2000, most of us have believed or were confused by. There are those of us who began to understand that we are not as limited as we were told, that our spiritual gifts are telepathy. Our spiritual gifts are being able to be, clairvoyant, that all of those gifts really are just parts of our brain that were lying dormant. But when we learn to awaken those parts of our brain and use them more, we can have mystical experiences at will. We can be telepathic. We can open up all those spiritual gifts because they're all part of our brain. So we're learning that we no longer have to be that old 2.0 version of ourselves or 3.0 version of ourselves, and that we can embody more of the true nature of divine self that we are, which is that we are an expression of the unified field, which is an expression of God's source energy, whatever name you choose to call it, which is an expression of this frequency of divine love in a body. And this has never been done before in the same way. So I just want to share with you that it is an alignment of the planets. It is an alignment of cycles of time, not just the Kali Yuga, but many other galactic cycles are also completing at this time. Earth is emerging out of the 3D vibrational frequency, which is very dense and materialistic. And for a lot of reasons, we've been kept in this, into a higher vibration, a higher octave of who she truly is as an organic planet. Her vibration, she needs all of us because we're living on the planet to help do this too. So as you personally work on your own vibration to become in a more loving, conscious way, stepping out of fear, stepping out of fear of the unknown and trusting, connecting to source, connecting to our own earth energy, connecting to the above energy. I like to say that we go to the great central sun and beyond, to the core and the center of the universe, Lanakea, the heart of the universe. When we connect and we become that solar, that conductivity, when we see this ray of light coming in, I practice this every day. I feel sourced. I feel connected. I know that this is all, I'm on the right path. I'm in my right timeline. I'm in the timeline of the new earth. We can choose that. We can. You individually, though, must do the work it takes to clear the old identity away in a loving way. I don't kill the ego or any of that. Believe me, I've been doing this for over 40 years. My ego, I love my aspect. I love that ego into dissolution. I ask I am, my higher self, my God source. I say, embody and embrace and let this aspect of myself just be embraced into you. There's no harshness about this. And let me know myself to be this pure, still presence. And that my heart opens up in great gratitude and love. That is where we are now. And I share this, obviously, it is my perception, but I also work with my higher selves and the ascended masters. And so I speak because they're part of me. I speak as one with their consciousness guiding me. And that is their message. That is my message, is that this is the opportunity to complete whatever needs to be completed personally in your life at this time, as you move forward in 2025, to learn how to let go of things gracefully, to learn how to forgive and move on, to learn how to love yourself and love everything you ever did, and let that be your life's lesson. I get to love every part of my life, no matter what it was. I love myself into wholeness. I love myself and let go of whatever that was that's no longer serving me or anyone else. And I embrace the new me, my new potential, my new work, what I really want to be doing in life. If you had unlimited resources, what would you do? How would you serve? What would you offer? Be honest, and it's okay, because it's going to change. But what is that now? What did I do this past year? What am I now ready to step into? What am I ready to let go of? What am I ready to move on from? And as we all did that, if everyone did that, our collective field would change. So collectively, we see everything shifting because we have political systems shifting. We have societal institutions breaking down and changing. Systems are breaking down and changing, and a lot of the corrupt and all the corrupted institutions are now also being revealed. And a lot of the secret information is being revealed. Disclosure on many levels is happening. So as that continues, and it's going to happen even more, it's time for us to let go of the old way that this world has been run, the old way in which we gave our power away, the old way in which we didn't take responsibility, whatever it might be, the old way, because we collectively now get to do that again. We get to reset and become this new vibration, moving forward into the fourth dimension and fifth dimensional consciousness, depending on where we are personally. You know, we have a thing that's called the solar flash that's been predicted for, well, millennia of time. I won't go into it too much here, but I will say that this is something that will come. It comes, and this time when it comes, it's going to actually transform us, those who are ready to move into a fifth dimensional way of being, or a fourth dimensional way of being, or wherever else they are choosing to be, is going to support that happening. So it's time to do the work. If you haven't already been doing it, if you've been waiting, if you're new, this is your opportunity this year to complete and move forward into this new consciousness, this new you. And if have been, to continue doing it and be guided as much as you can by your own inner self. Ask the divine within you to guide you. If you need support, there are many of us out there, myself included. We're totally willing to work with you in whatever way you might need spiritual guidance and support in doing these processes. So I just want to thank you for listening to this message, and I hope that it has in some way given you some sense of clarity or focus about this year. And I know that all of us will come into this year now. And as we allow ourselves to see, as things complete out in the world, it will also reflect how things complete within each of us. And I know that we can reset the whole collective field if each of us took responsibility for our own piece of that and reset ourselves. into this new way of being, a new paradigm of human, a 5.0 paradigm or a 4.0 paradigm, wherever you feel you are, learning to live from the heart in love without fear, welcoming the unknown because the unknown is not an enemy. The unknown is our friend. The unknown is the beloved. At least that's the way I see it. So until we get to meet again, may you have a wonderful, wonderful new week this week. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will put a few links on the bottom if you care to know them. And I'm going to turn this off. Thank you very much.